Once, China's cities pulsed with life, skyscrapers piercing the heavens, streets teeming with workers, and subways packed to the brim. Today, a chilling silence has descended. In Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen, the neon lights flicker over deserted sidewalks. Restaurants sit shuttered, their tables gathering dust. Shopping malls, once bustling with shoppers, now stand as hollow monuments to a fading era. This is not the aftermath of a pandemic. It is the collapse of a nation's economic heartbeat, orchestrated by the Chinese Communist Party, CCP. While the regime boasts of 5% GDP growth, the reality is a landscape of ghost cities, abandoned dreams, and millions of people plunged into hunger and despair. Behind the facade of progress lies a stark truth. The CCP's reckless policies have left China's urban centers as empty shells and its people in unimaginable suffering. How did the world's second-largest economy come to this? The dying pulse of urban China. Cities starved of life. A silent exodus. People stop moving. The lifeblood of any city is its people. The workers commuting to factories, the shoppers filling stores, the families dining out. In China, that lifeblood is drying up. According to the Chinese Ministry of Transport, urban passenger trips plummeted by 27% in the first 7 months of 2025 compared to the previous year. In Shanghai, subway ridership has dropped by 35%. In Guangzhou, it's a staggering 41%. Even Shenzhen, once a shining symbol of China's economic miracle, is faltering. Factories have shuttered, jobs have vanished, and an estimated 18 million people have stopped spending. A shop owner in Shenzhen laments, "Business is dead, customers are gone. It's like the city has given up." This isn't just a slowdown, it's a collapse. Buses and trams, once packed, now carry a fraction of their former passengers, with ridership down 8.1% in July alone. Taxi trips have fallen by 6.7%, and even new subway lines can't mask the truth. Passenger density is shrinking relentlessly. But what happens when the people stop moving? The answer lies in the stories of those left behind, struggling to survive in cities that no longer need them. The human toll is devastating. Workers who once crowded morning buses now sit idle, unable to afford food or rent. In smaller cities, public transport routes have been canceled, fleets mothballed, and stations abandoned. A taxi driver in Chong'an New area shares a heartbreaking reality. "I drive through empty streets at night, hoping for a single fare. Most nights, I go home with nothing." Families who dreamed of urban prosperity are now trapped in poverty, their savings drained, their hopes crushed. The CCP's vision of urban glory has left millions stranded, their lives reduced to a daily struggle for survival. Ghost cities, billions wasted, lives destroyed, monuments to misery, the ruins of ambition. Across China, the landscape is littered with the relics of the CCP's overzealous dreams, ghost cities, and abandoned projects that stand as testaments to failure. In Yangzheng, Fujian, the Guaya New World Villa community saw tens of billions of yuan poured into over 1,000 villas, now left to rot under overgrown weeds. From above, the tightly packed villas cover entire mountain slopes, their finished exteriors mocking the promise of luxury. Yet no one lives here. The roads are pristine, the landscaping meticulous, but the silence is deafening. Netizens lament, "Why not give these homes to the poor instead of letting them decay?" In Yuyao, Zhejiang, the Mushan Lake Villa development was meant to be a serene escape for China's elite. Instead, it's a desolate wasteland, its million-yuan homes choked by vegetation, avoided even by the homeless. These are not just empty buildings, they are symbols of broken promises, where the dreams of ordinary people were sacrificed for the CCP's vanity. The scale of waste is staggering. Chong'an New area, championed by Xi Jinping as a millennium plan to ease Beijing's overpopulation, consumed 830 billion yuan to build 4,860 buildings and 804 kilometers of roads. Yet, 8 years later, it houses only 1.3 million people, far below the planned 5 million. Videos from the National Day holiday show towering skyscrapers with no lights, streets with no pedestrians, and a high-speed rail station, touted as Asia's largest, nearly empty. A netizen's video captures the desolation. Look at Chang'an. The shops are all for rent. The owners who bought these properties must be heartbroken. These projects, meant to showcase China's might, have instead become graveyards of ambition, leaving behind a trail of financial ruin and human suffering. The human cost: hunger, homelessness, and despair. A nation starved, the plight of the people. Beyond the concrete wastelands, the true tragedy lies in the suffering of China's people. The CCP's obsession with infrastructure has left millions in poverty, their lives shattered by policies that prioritize steal over sustenance. Farmers whose lands were seized at rock-bottom prices to make way for these grandiose projects received little to no compensation. Stripped of their livelihoods, they now face hunger and homelessness. In Fujian, families who once tended fields near the Guaya New World villas are left with nothing, unable to afford basic necessities like food or medicine. A farmer's words echo the despair. They took our land, promised us prosperity, and left us to starve. But the pain doesn't end with the farmers. In the cities, the working class bears the brunt of an economy collapsing under the CCP's mismanagement. In Shenzhen, the closure of factories has left thousands of workers jobless. Once the backbone of China's manufacturing boom, these laborers now struggle to buy food for their families. A laid-off worker shares, "I used to work 12-hour shifts to feed my children. Now I can't even afford rice." The infamous 996 work culture, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week, promised prosperity, but delivered exhaustion and despair. In Chang'an, a shop owner who invested his life savings in a commercial property now faces ruin. "I thought this was my chance to build a future. Now, my shop is empty and my family is hungry." Across China, 139 of 694 cities, 20% of the nation's urban centers, are officially shrinking as people flee to rural areas in search of survival. But even there, poverty awaits. The urban dream has become a nightmare, with millions trapped in a cycle of hunger and hopelessness. The financial abyss, a debt-fueled disaster. Billions borrowed, nothing gained. The CCP's reckless spending has plunged China into a financial quagmire. By August 2023, local government debt reached a staggering 94 trillion yuan, with 6 trillion tied to high-speed rail and 10 trillion squandered on ghost cities. Over 20,000 unfinished projects nationwide have wasted 20 trillion yuan, funds that could have fed and housed millions. The Jiangxi Expressway, a 5.8 billion yuan project meant to connect Hunan and Guizhou, now lies abandoned, its lonely bridge piers standing like tombstones in the mountains. The Chang'an high-speed railway station, costing 475,000 square meters of construction, operates with just 20 pairs of trains daily, its vast halls echoing with emptiness. A retired railway worker from Huyang sums it up. "Trains used to serve the people. Now they're just for political show, while ordinary folks can't even afford a ticket." But who pays for this extravagance? The answer is clear. The Chinese people, whose savings and futures have been plundered by the CCP's greed. The human cost of this debt is crushing. Money from state banks, built on the savings of ordinary citizens, has been funneled into these failed projects. Families who entrusted their earnings to the system now find themselves destitute, their sacrifices funding empty skyscrapers and rusted railways. The CCP's post-2008 stimulus plan, injecting 4 trillion yuan into infrastructure, drove investment to 40% of GDP, masking economic weaknesses but burdening the nation with unpayable debts. Each kilometer of high-speed rail adds 120 million yuan in liabilities, yet passenger numbers are too low to sustain operations. The result? Suspended projects, closed stations, and a nation drowning in debt, with its people left to bear the consequences. The CCP's betrayal, corruption, and mismanagement. A system built on greed. At the heart of China's collapse lies the CCP's systemic failures, corruption, mismanagement, and a callous disregard for its people. The regime's infrastructure frenzy was not about progress, but about enriching officials and their cronies. Local governments, eager to boost GDP and line their pockets, poured billions into projects with no demand. The Guiyang Hunda cultural tourist town in Hubei, costing 120 billion yuan, was meant to be a vibrant leisure hub but remains unfinished. Its steel reinforcements rusted and overtaken by weeds. The Super Data Castle in Fujian, a 26 billion yuan project mimicking Apple's headquarters, halted in 2022, leaving only a skeletal frame. These projects were driven by officials seeking performance metrics and personal gain, not public welfare. Yet, the true crime is not just the waste. It's the betrayal of a nation's trust, as the CCP sacrifices its people for the illusion of grandeur. The CCP's economic model, prioritizing concrete over citizens, has left household income at just 40% of GDP, down from over 50% in the early reform era. While skyscrapers multiplied, ordinary people were treated as tools of production, not beneficiaries of prosperity. The 996 culture exhausted workers, leaving them underpaid and overworked, with no safety net. Farmers lost their land, workers lost their jobs, and families lost their futures, all to fuel the CCP's propaganda of growth. The regime's obsession with infrastructure has not only bankrupted the economy, but also broken the spirit of its people, leaving them to scavenge for survival in the shadows of empty cities. A nation in mourning, China's ghost cities, silent, weed-choked relics of the CCP's ambition, stand as haunting symbols of a nation betrayed. From the abandoned villas of Guaya New World to the desolate streets of Chang'an, these concrete wastelands tell a story of waste, corruption, and suffering. The CCP's boasts of economic miracles ring hollow against the cries of its people. Farmers stripped of their land, workers left jobless, and families struggling to afford a single meal. The empty subways of Shanghai, the shuttered shops of Shenzhen, and the deserted stations of Chang'an are not just signs of economic collapse. They are monuments to the CCP's failure to value human lives. As millions face hunger, homelessness, and despair, the world's second-largest economy stands exposed as a hollow shell, its grandeur built on the broken backs of its people. This is not progress. This is a nation in mourning, betrayed by a regime that chose steel over souls.